Today's video is going to be just a get ready with me talking all about the book Fourth Wing. I read this book in 5 days. I could not put it down. I thought it was fantastic, so I really wanted to dive into Fourth Wing and talk about the entirety of this book. So, spoilers alert, if you guys are intending on reading this book, or if you have any interest in reading it at all, please don't watch this video because I am going to be talking about all of the book from beginning to end. Not every single detail, but the details that stood out to me that made me really fall in love with the story of this book. I wasn't really like 100% in love with her writing style in the beginning of the book. I actually think the second book is better written than this one, but as it goes into the rest of the story and the last few chapters, you are just absolutely captivated and so hooked that I could not put it down and I had to finish it that night. So I finished this on Tuesday, and now I am reading the sequel, The Iron Flame, and I am loving this book as much as the first one. And this one, I'm on page 170, but I just started this on Tuesday, so I'll be up to page 200 probably by tonight. This one is over 600 pages, but if I get to 200, then I will be a third of the way in. I love how it reflects too in the light. It just looks so cool. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm probably not going to finish that book as fast as Fourth Wing. I just was so obsessed with Fourth Wing. I got so into it, and I ended up reading it so much faster than I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to take me like a full week, but the fact that it only took me 5 days just gives me so much hope that I can finish more books in 1 month than I actually thought, because literally all I've been doing since I finished Love and Other Words and Midnight Library, I just want to read. So this is now my 5th book that I'm going to finish. Fourth Wing was my 4th. Too funny. So let's talk about the, basic plot and story of Fourth Wing. So Fourth Wing is about a dragon school. And basically, the whole reason why you are so intrigued and enticed as a reader is that you could die at any moment during the time period that you're in the dragon school. Basically, a third of the students that start in their first year don't make it to the second year. You can die in the first trial of trying to make it through the training field, because the dragons can burn you and kill you. Not every first year bonds to a dragon when they are going through the first trial. The first trial is called the threshing, and basically it's like the line of fire on whether or not you make it through, just to live the next day. Basically, you can die at any point during that time. Basically, the only time that they don't die is first getting there and the first day. But someone could kill you on your first day. You don't just have to worry about the dragons killing you. Your own students or friends or enemies, well, friends obviously wouldn't kill you unless you betrayed them in some way, but your enemies can kill you at any moment. Like if someone has a grudge against you, or their parents were traitors and you're their son or you're their daughter, can be killed right away. So first years can plot to kill you if they don't like you. Second years can plot to kill you if they don't like you. That's what makes the book so intriguing. And the reason why I'm stressing why the killing is so important is because it actually really is. And the reason why is basically the way that she writes about people dying. It's not that like she doesn't care as she's portraying it and writing it, but the way that some of the characters, like the professors or the military or the general, are desensitized to uh the students being killed is basically the whole reason why the killing is kind of essential to the book's plot, but also it's to desensitize all of the students to prepare to just be soldiers and dragon riders, because the dragon riders are the people that protect the kingdom. But also, this kingdom holds a lot of secrets that don't get revealed until the end of the book, and a lot in the second book. But I'm not going to talk about the second book today. I'm just going to be talking about the first one because I haven't finished the second one, and I'm not going to talk about it until I finish it. But I think I'm already enjoying the writing style of the Iron Flame more so than the Fourth Wing. But also because you know so much more about the characters, and that's probably why. So the main character of Fourth Wing is named Violet Sorrengail, and Violet Sorrengail has a very profound reputation in the world that we are living in this book, because her mother is General Sorrengail. So obviously she's very important because she's a military general. And Violet was always destined to be a scribe, unlike her two siblings. She has two siblings, and I think she's the youngest. So she has her sister Mira and her older brother, why can I remember how to say his name? I think it's Darren. Let me look it up real quick. But she has an older brother, and Mira Sorrengail is like the best of her squad, the best of her years. She's an amazing dragon rider. She was always destined to be a dragon rider. And her older brother was always destined to be a mender, and a mender is like a healer. Obviously, like all kinds of fantasy novels usually have some type of healing magical humans and have healing abilities, like the same thing in Harry Potter and like most fantasy novels. So he was supposed to be destined to be a mender, but I think also he became a dragon rider as well, because I remember that he had a dragon too, but I kind of forget like how that happens, because that's more towards like the beginning of the book, so forgive me if I'm not like clear on every detail of that aspect of the story, but I'm mostly going to be talking about Violet. Like, that doesn't really matter when it can in the long run of the whole story. So Violet is constantly challenged in the book to prove that she is a dragon rider, because she doesn't even believe in herself being a dragon rider. She always thought that she was destined to be a scribe as well, but her mother decided for her to be a dragon rider. But I think also the reason why her mother wanted her to be a dragon rider is because I also think her father wanted her to be a dragon rider, and her father dies before her first year. And the reason why her father dies is because he can't get over the death of his firstborn son. So basically the whole book is about Violet surviving her first year. And she encounters a squad leader by the name of Xaden. And Xaden ends up being her worst enemy and wants to kill her with every fiber of his being, because his parents, I believe, betrayed her parents. So they are both, he is parents of traitors, I'm pretty sure. And Violet is the daughter of, well, I wouldn't necessarily say they're traitors. I'm gonna have to get better on my background of these characters, but basically, again, that doesn't really matter too much because Xaden is pretty much wanting to kill Violet throughout the whole book, or the first half of the book, but then they end up falling in love with each other. And Violet doesn't really understand her feelings as to why she is in love with him or wants him so badly. She constantly questions her feelings and is thinking, what is wrong with me? Why do I feel this way about him? I thought that I hated him. So the second half of the book is basically about their love story, but also it's about the trials of them going through everything together so they can just survive, because Xaden is one of the strongest in his squad, if not the strongest writer in the whole school, until Violet develops her full powers, and they're pretty much equally matched in how powerful they both are, and pretty much essential to the kingdom's survival. So Violet ends up bonding with one of the strongest dragons ever in, the history of dragonkind, and she ends up bonding to a dragon named Terran, and the yellow-tailed dragon named Andarna, and she ends up bonding to two dragons, which is completely unheard of from humans. Like, you're not really allowed to bond to two dragons, but also dragons don't listen to the rules of humans. They have their own rules. So that's really the only reason why Violet is allowed to survive, because she understands that dragons make whatever rules they want, and if they want to choose one human to bond with, then they are allowed to do that. But also, this makes Violet vulnerable as well, again, because since she was bonded to two dragons, then that means that some first years still aren't bonded to a dragon, and they could threaten her and kill her just to be able to bond to one of her two dragons. So, like, it's not fair that she was able to bond to two dragons, because then that makes it, harder for the first years to bond, because she has two dragons and they weren't able to get any. So, I found that fascinating as well. So, there's also Violet's best friend, Dane, is an essential character to the book as well, because she thinks that Dane is her best friend. And this is the first thing that I really wanted to talk about, is that Dane constantly is looking out for Violet and wants her to be a scribe, and he keeps on trying to get her to walk away from being a dragon rider, because he wants to, in the worst way, keep her safe and protected, and he wants her to go and take her chance to become a scribe, because he knows obviously that wouldn't get her killed, and then she would survive and live, a long life and whatever. But and this is also important, Dane's power, so they all end up developing powers after they bond to a dragon, because humans are able to channel certain powers called segnets. It's Seignet, which means that each human has a special power that channels through their dragon. So Dane's power, and Dane is a second year, I believe, and Dane's power is he is able to read people's memories by touching them, like touching their head. And Dane ends up doing this a couple of times to Violet, but Violet doesn't think that he is reading her memories, because she thinks that, you find out later in the book, that she thinks that he would never do this because, one, he is her best friend, but also she thinks that she would know if he was reading her memories. And Xaden tells her later in the book, no, you would not be able to tell. So basically, I want to see if there's anything else I want to cover before I go into the rest of what I realized throughout the whole book. There are definitely a few things that stood out to me that I was like, whoa. So Taryn does not like Dane whatsoever. He barely tolerates Xaden, but he ends up liking Xaden because Xaden is bonded to Taryn's mate. This is what I wanted to talk about. Which is another black tailed dragon. So basically, black dragons are like the rarest of their kind, and Violet just so happens to bond to the dragon that has only had one dragon rider, and his dragon rider died years ago, and he has been unseen for years, and then all of a sudden Taryn bonds to Violet because Violet is trying to protect Andarna from being killed by Jack and his basically goons. And Jack is another character that is absolutely ruthless and wants to kill Violet. But they team up and try to kill Andarna because Andarna is a very weak young dragon. And also she hasn't bonded yet to anyone. But then chooses to bond to Violet because Violet ends up defending her, and Taryn bonds to Violet. But Xaden actually steps in at this point to not really interfere, but to kind of counsel her in a way that doesn't get him in trouble, because wing leaders are not allowed to interfere in any way. If anyone wants to challenge anyone to kill them, they're not allowed to interfere. You have to kill the person yourself, or one or the other survives. Like if Jack killed Violet, then that's it. If Violet killed Jack, then that's it. So Violet ends up killing Jack, I believe, later in the book. I don't think it happens then. To defend Andarna so she can save her, because she thinks it's wrong that Jack and his friends are trying to kill her. So that's the whole reason why Taryn bonds to Violet, because he sees that she wants to protect his kind. Even though dragons would kill Andarna, I think because she is weaker, and dragons again have no rules, but he respects her wanting to protect her and sees how kind she is. So anyway, after this happens, Dane demands for Violet to explain what happened, and he asks Violet to give her the memory of what happened. And this is the whole realization that I probably should have come to a little bit earlier, but for me, I'm very what's in front of me is what I see. I'm not very good at analyzing until like later on when all gets revealed, but I kind of like that because then it's all surprising to me and I'm like, whoa, like what? So that ends up becoming very important. And this is the whole reason why Taryn does not like Dane, and I'll explain that in a minute. So Violet thinks that she's going to fall in love with Dane because she's loved Dane since they were kids, because they grew up together and they were best friends. But turns out she ends up falling in love with Xaden. And I think the reason why Xaden ends up wanting to kill her at first is because he thinks maybe that's easier to hate her than to love her. But also I do think it's heavily because he really did want to kill her. So, because of his parents and also because of her mother. So, Xaden ends up trying to keep his distance as long as possible from Violet, but he finds that it ends up being impossible because they end up falling in love with each other. And the reason why Xaden wants to keep his distance throughout the whole book is because he wants to shut her out and not reveal a lot that happens throughout the end of the book, to protect her from Dane reading her memories. So that was mind-blowing to me. I was like, what? That's the whole reason why he doesn't want to fall in love with her. Because if he does, that will pretty much be his mind's undoing. Well, actually, he does it to protect Violet. Everything he does is protect Violet, but this would also be his undoing as well, because there's a lot more that Xaden is actually keeping from Violet and pretty much everyone in the kingdom that only certain people know. And the reason why he's doing this is just to protect her memories, so Dane doesn't read her memories and ends up thinking that she's a traitor, because everything you think that they are supposed to do is pretty much training them for warriors to die. And the reason why they're so desensitized to death is because the kingdom does not really care if the riders live or die. Their sole purpose is just to protect the kingdom, no matter at what cost. And they basically have no sympathy for the riders, because the kingdom is actually keeping terrible secrets from the riders, and they don't want to tell them anything because all they want to do is train them to fight mythical creatures that they thought weren't real. They actually didn't even know what they were fighting. I mean, originally they told them that the enemy was Gryphons, but turns out that the enemy is not Gryphons, because Xaden is actually working with the Gryphons to actually take down the real enemies, which are Wayrin and Venin. And this doesn't happen until like way into the book, like maybe 400 pages in, is when everything starts getting revealed on why Xaden blocks her out, because he can't tell her any of this, because basically everything that Violet holds to be true is not, because she didn't even know that Venin and Wayrin exist, and they are way worse than Gryphon. They could basically kill you with a poison blade. They all have magic. They could like tear you apart with their teeth. They're supposed to be absolutely lethal warriors. And basically the whole battle happens because there's this event called War Games, and that's basically what the first years train for the end of the year, is to play, not really play, but they're supposed to survive during these war games. So basically it's the last trial that they have to go through to finish their first year, but also see who will survive to their second year, and also who further gets to train to become a warrior or become a soldier. But guess who decides to plot the war games to be an actual real battle? And the group of Xaden's squad actually goes to the outpost where the war games are supposed to be held, and the outpost is completely abandoned, and they actually end up walking into almost an ambush of Venin. And the Venin start attacking them and start attacking the outer town or outer city of civilians. So basically, Violet and Xaden have to lead everyone to kill the Venin and Wayrin to save the town, but also save themselves, because they had no idea that, one, that these creatures even existed. That's why they were called mythical creatures. But also, they were not trained to fight Venin and Venin and Wayrin. So basically, the whole like 3 or 4 chapters of the last half of the book is about them fighting to save the kingdom. But it's more so to save themselves and also to save the people, because no one else is there to be found. And Dane is the one that plans all of this, because there is a letter from Dane at the outpost that says, blah blah blah, good luck, you must do this to complete the war games. But then everybody knows it's not a war game, it's an actual fight for survival. So, going back to, before I tell you the outcome of the war games, is why Taryn does not like Dane, is that Taryn actually knew everything that was going on with Zane, because he is mated to Sagal, and Sagal is, or Seigel, I think. And Sagal is Xaden's dragon. Oh, and basically the whole reason why Xaden can't kill... Now I know why he can't kill Violet anymore, sorry. The reason why Xaden can't kill Violet anymore is because, I don't know why I didn't say this, like, duh, hello. I don't know why I'm coughing so much either. Is because Violet is bonded to Sagal's mate, Taryn, and if he kills her, he could die too. So he has to change everything that he thinks about her, and basically both of them linked is essential to both of their survival. So he can't do anything to her, because he would end up killing himself or harming himself or hurting himself. So that is the whole reason why he ends up caring for her. So he ends up training her. I don't know why I didn't say that before. So basically they're life linked. So the reason why Taryn is so protective of Violet when it comes to Dane is because Taryn knows that he's the enemy. I wrote, Taryn the dragon is protecting Violet from Dane when Dane approaches Taryn and her because Taryn knows that Dane is the danger, because Taryn knows everything that Zane had revealed about him, but he probably already knew this anyway, because hello, he's a dragon. They probably pretty much know everything. But Violet constantly tells Taryn, relax, he's not going to kill me, he's my best friend, knowing full well everything that, Dane is going to do to basically kill Violet. But also, so coming back to Dane wanting to get Violet out of being a dragon rider, is that I think that in the beginning maybe he did actually really care and wanted Violet to get out of there, so he didn't want her to end up being killed, because I think he did actually still care about her, but since he was so involved in the plot of the kingdom and the dragon riders, and also Dane would not put his life on the line for Violet like Xaden would. Like, Xaden would die for Violet, but Dane would not do the same, because he's so rigid about the rules of the kingdom, and he would not even do anything to save Violet when the riders and Jack tried to kill her. Like, he was not going to interfere because he's all about the rules of dragon riding. So Violet pretty much realizes that Dane is not really the friend that she thought he was, and they end up starting to fight and not really, spend as much time together as they used to, because she thinks that Dane, wouldn't put her life on the line, his life on the line for her. And it's kind of like a sense of betrayal for her to think that, her worst enemy would defend her more than than Dane. So it's kind of like a realization she comes to, and she feels like a sense of betrayal from him that he wouldn't protect her with his life, even though she probably would do that for him. So Taryn gets very upset when Dane tries to approach Violet, because he probably thinks that Dane is going to try and read her memories every time he tries to touch her. So he growls and he gets mad because he's trying to protect her memories, but also protect her from him, because he knows that he's betrayed everyone. So that's most of what you need to know about the book. Also, Xaden assigns one of his best friends to protect Violet, because in the middle of the book, after, Violet has been bonded to Andarna and Taryn for a long period of time, some first years try to kill her. So they end up assigning. Actually, I think they already assigned the bodyguard to her before that happens, because somehow they, break into her room, because she ends up getting, her own room at one point. And this is, a absolute privilege for riders, is to get their own room. And the room is only supposed to be able to be opened by her and her, people that she trusts, like her best friend Rhiannon and Xaden and people like that. But then they end up somehow getting into the room, because one of the cadets that tries to kill her is actually not a cadet, but a soldier, student, whatever. I don't really know what you call second years, but one of them is a wing leader from another squad that Xaden thought that he could trust, and she ends up being executed because Xaden and Violet accuse her of trying to kill Violet, and Taryn ends up burning her because she betrays the kingdom. But also the kingdom wants Violet to survive in some way, because they know how powerful Violet's signet is. And Violet's signet doesn't get revealed until later in the book. Oh, and also the two most dangerous signets to have is to stop time or to read people's minds. Dane is an exception because he is able to control his power, and the only reason why he can use it is if you touch somebody. Like, he's not constantly hearing people's thoughts, because but also, since Violet has two dragons, she ends up being able to have two signets. So the first one is that she can actually stop time with Andarna, but stopping time is absolutely forbidden, and she could get executed because of this. And I think the only, people that actually know that she can do this, I think Xaden knows. I'm not sure if he's the only human that knows, but I think only her And Taryn and Andarna know that she can stop time, like her and her dragons, and like that's it, because she knows it's completely illegal. But also mind reading can get you killed, but that's why Dane can stay. I almost said Dayton, like they're two names combined. That's why Dane can be alive. But I think either another first year or second year develops this power of being able to read minds, and he actually ends up being executed because being a mind reader is a very dangerous power. But now I actually realize the reason why they don't want a mind reader is because the kingdom does not want to reveal everything that they're hiding from all of the cadets. I just realized that. That is so clever. So she kills him off because it's so dangerous, not only just to have a mind reader, and also like a mind reader that can control his powers, and that's the whole reason why they kill him. But now I realize that he would be able to read any of the professors or military's minds at any given moment and know everything that they are hiding from the cadets. So that's why they kill him. That's really the reason why they kill him. So, wow. Mind blown. Yeah, I just realized that. Like, it would be bad to have him stick around. See, that's why I like her writing so much, is because you think that these characters are insignificant, but actually you realize that every character she writes about is essential to the whole story. So that's crazy. So anyway, going back to Violet's bodyguard's name is Liam, and Liam ends up becoming like one of her best friends, and he ends up defending her in the whole battle towards the end of the book, that his dragon ends up getting killed. And once your dragon dies, pretty much that bond is so strong that you end up dying as well. So when Liam's dragon dies to protect Violet, because he knows that Violet needs to survive because her signet is so powerful. So her other signet is that she is able to control lightning, and she's able to, will lightning in whatever way possible. I think she also has weather capabilities and is kind of like Storm from X-Men almost, but mostly she just controls lightning for now. But one of the Wayrens or Venom, I think, that tries to kill her in the battle says to her, you could will the sky at your own will, you just don't know how to control it yet. They're just putting you on a leash, like stuff like that. But she's a lot more powerful than she thinks that she is, and pretty much, lets her full power unleash, trying to defeat the Venom. So, but I still don't think her full power has even been unleashed yet until like probably the end of Iron Flame. But anyway, because then we see what type of battle happens probably at the end of Iron Flame, because I'm sure there's going to be a huge battle at the end. So anyway, so Liam ends up dying, and I was crying so much, when that happened, especially when the dragon died. But then like when Liam was saying like, it's okay, Violet, like I was bawling. I thought it was so sad. So Liam ends up dying, but always someone important has to die at the end of a fantasy novel. I was like, someone's gonna die. Like, I already knew that, but I didn't know who it was gonna be, and I was like, no, Liam. But like, I knew that Rhiannon was too important. I knew Violet and Xaden obviously couldn't die, but like, Violet was always on the brink of death every 5 seconds in the book. I was like, she can't kill the main female character, then there would be no other books. Hold on one second, I gotta grab my blush and highlight. So then after Liam gets killed, I needed like a minute to collect myself to finish the book. And then after, well, during the attack as well, Violet ends up getting stabbed by one of the Wayron, and it ends up being a poison blade. Again, I wasn't really going to talk about what I'm using today. I didn't even say that. I'm just using Max Margin mixed with a bit of Harmony. I wanted to use a MAC blush today, but ended up being like a lot warmer than I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. The blade is filled with poison. So Violet almost dies, but then Xaden carries her back to the medical wing. So, well, actually not even the medical wing. He takes her back to a city named Arteria.
Okay, I found this.
I don't know why Siri just went off. I guess she could have given me a history of Arteria, but that's okay. I don't think it's even real. I mean, obviously it's not. So he takes her back there. But also, like, in the one part of the book where Xaden starts talking to Gryphon, Violet feels betrayed by him on what happened. Like, this happens right before the battle, that he talks to the Gryphon and talks about like training and everything, and she's like, why are you talking and conspirating with the enemy? That's what she basically thought he was doing. And then he says, out of all of the times I've asked you to trust me, Violet, you need to trust me now. But she thinks that he's betrayed her. And not just betrayed her, but the entire school and the entire kingdom. But then, since the battle happens, they have to trust each other in order to fight, in order to save everybody. So, still a lot of stuff has happened. So, after she gets poisoned, she thinks that she's gonna die, but he takes her back to this place called Arteria. And when she wakes up, finally, she wakes up after like a few days, and he just stays by her side the whole time. She asks where they are, and also she was supposed to have like memory issues when she wakes up, but she actually ends up remembering everything except for like for a minute or two when she says, where are we, who am I with, but then she realizes that it's him, or something like that. And then she realizes where they are is somewhere that's not even supposed to exist on the maps in the school, because they have like this great archive hall recorded of records of having, like, you know, every city, every book, every battle is all supposed to be recorded in the archives, and that's what she was supposed to do. Remember when I said that she was supposed to be a scribe? That was supposed to be her duty, or her role, or whatever. So she wakes up, talks to Xaden for a little bit, and then somebody knocks on the door. And guess who they are hiding for the entire book? Her brother is alive. When that was literally the last line of the book, and I'm like, say what? I'm like, her brother's alive? I was like, well, that's something I did not see coming whatsoever. So when that happened, my mind was blown. I literally sat there for like 5 minutes when when I finished the book, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I just sat there with my jaw open for like 5 minutes. But it's revealed that her brother is alive, and that's the whole reason why Xaden had to keep his distance from her for so long, because Xaden also was not able to tell her everything, because one, she would, be like, what the fuck? Like, what are you telling me? You're hiding my brother's death from me, basically, is the big one that he really couldn't tell her until the right time. But also, like, she feels betrayed by him because he didn't tell her anything that was going on before this, and she feels that their love is a betrayal because he was never fully honest with her. But also he did this so that one, Daryl would not be able, not Daryl, oh my god, Dane would not be able to read her mind. So honestly, I really don't feel like wearing a lipstick today. I don't feel like wearing this either, though. I think I'm just going to put on my Stay Lip Oil and call it a day, because I really don't feel like wearing a lipstick. I'll wear lipstick on the weekend. So yeah, that was basically everything that happened in Fourth Wing. If you have anything to add, please leave it in the comments below. If you read the whole book, I'd love to know what you thought of it. Did you love it? Did you hate it? I personally loved it, and I'm just gonna do my lips, and then we will wrap up my final thoughts about the book. So let me just do my lips real quick. Where did I put the book? Oh my god. I didn't know where I put it, but I literally put it underneath all of my makeup. So yeah, rating this, I absolutely loved it. I would give it a 5 out of 5 stars. Originally, until the last half of the book, I thought it was like a 4 out of 5. But then when it got to the final chapters, I'm like, that pushed it up to a 5-star rating for me. I absolutely loved it. I think it's totally worth the hype. I think it's a great book. There are some parts that are a little bit sexually explicit, so I just wanted to tell you guys that now. When I'm a 35-year-old woman, I think I can handle a bit of that. I'm not like a kid anymore, so, but I would say this is probably a good book for people maybe 18 and up. But I feel like, you know, kids these days will read anything, so I don't think they'll really mind those parts either, but I'm just saying that it does get a little bit sexual, so and the brother's name is Brennan. So yeah, perfect book. I mean, not perfect, but I thought it was really, really great. I thought it was so intriguing. I couldn't put it down. So I definitely think that this was a 5-star read for me. I think it was really, really good. So again, if you have anything else to add about the book, please let me know. Please let me know what your favorite part was. What made you upset? What made you cry? Like, please tell me if I left anything out that you think that I should have talked about, but I really tried to talk about the things that stuck out to me the most and the realizations that I came to throughout the last few chapters. And I was like, what? So yeah, there's just a lot more secrets that this kingdom is keeping, and I feel like a lot of more of it is going to be revealed in the second book. So the second book basically leaves off right where the first book leaves off, where she, you know, needs to ask her brother, like, what happened to you? And that's basically how the book starts. And then it goes through their second year being dragon riders, and whether or not Violet is going to return to the dragon school. I believe it's called Biscayeth, to continue her training or stay with Xaden. So I'm just gonna say that. I'm not gonna reveal too much because I don't want to spoil what I've read so far, and also I want to finish this book before I talk about it. But I can't wait to do a full get ready with me talking about this book. I can't wait. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do want to do a full reading, like, recap video at the end of the year, and I will talk about all the books that I read in 2023. I'm not gonna like go into like full detail like I did with this book. I just really wanted to do a full get ready with me talking about Fourth Wing because there was so much that I wanted to say, and it ended up filling an entire video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, please let me know if you have any interest in reading this book. Do you not care? Did you read it? Did you love it, or did you hate it? Okay, so that's it. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CPW819 and check out my Poshmark at the same handle. I used my ColourPop 1111 palette today. So what I used is I took Lucky Babe in the crease. Then I darkened up the crease more with Perfect Harmony. And then I used Empowered and Divine on the outer corners. And then for the lid, I went in with Total Angel. And then for my inner corners, I just used a bit of Major Change. And I think it looks really pretty. It's like a very subtle inner corner. I almost said inner corner, but I really like it. And then I just used Brighter Days from Blend Bunny. And then for my face, I just used my Tower 28 combo, the tinted moisturizer and the concealer. Just used my Do It spray and the Say Star Glow Super Gel primer. And then I just set with my Becca powder and set my face with the ColourPop Pretty Fresh powder. And then I just used the Makeup Forever brown liner in the shade Limitless Brown on my waterline. And then I just used my Tower 28 mascara. And then for my bronzer, I just used the ColourPop Laguna Beach. And then I just used my MAC Margin and Harmony blushes mixed together. And then for my highlight, I went into an old school one as well. I just used the Anastasia one in the shade Starlight. It's just so pretty. I love it. And then I just set with the Rare Beauty spray. And then I just popped on the Say lip oil in the shade Push. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys have a great day. And I think this is going to be my last video until after Thanksgiving. I don't think I'm gonna be able to film anything, but I'll have like these videos up next week. So I hope you guys have a great fantastic Thanksgiving. It's always me and my family's favorite holiday. So yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Bye. Okay, so hey there guys. So I wanted to come back in and just say a couple things about Fourth Wing. There was one thing that I really wanted to say that I think I didn't say in the video. If I did, please forgive me if I am repeating this. But throughout the book, and after you realize when the book is over, you kind of wonder why Dane was trying to get Violet out of the way. Was he really caring about her and was trying to protect her and save her from what was going to happen, because he already was working for the kingdom and for the military, and he knew that everyone was going to be going to their deaths eventually or die in battle. Was he really trying to save her, or what did he know how powerful she would become? Maybe he already knew. Also, I just wanted to clarify that Xaden is not able to kill her anymore because they are linked. And I should have said that before. And also, the reason why Xaden hates Violet, which I wanted to clarify earlier as well, is because Violet's mother kills Xaden's father. So that is why he hates Violet. And also, but after they fall in love, there's like a part where Xaden is remembering his father because it's the anniversary of his death, and she ends up taking care of him and wants him to be with her rather than, you know, him like being alone, because she really does love him. Also, I wanted to say that I haven't really fallen in love with a fantasy book in quite a long time. I was reading other genres when I first started reading again, like the Radleys, Midnight Library, Love in Other Words. Matt Haig's writing style, like the Radleys and Midnight Library, is so unique, and he does so many different genres that I think that's why he's been my favorite author, but that's not the point of this video. I'll say that in my reading wrap up. I haven't really read a fantasy novel since, like the So You Want to Be a Wizard series and Harry Potter. I haven't really delved into any other fantasy. So that's why I think I'm really loving the Fourth Wing series, is that I think we haven't had a fantasy series this hyped up since then. And also, after I finish reading my December reads, I'm going to read the entire ACOTAR series, and that's going to be another fantasy book series for me, and I'm super pumped to read that. But I also I'm also the type of person that didn't really love books since I have ADD, and since I started reading again, this is genuinely the first time I've actually fallen in love with reading in my whole life. I thought that reading was a tedious task that I wanted absolutely nothing to do with because I was such a slow reader, and now I can't get enough of it. And I can't believe I'm almost done with my 5th book this year. That's the most books I've read in my entire life. So I just wanted to say that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to say. But I wanted to stress that detail about Dane, that who knows if he was trying to protect her or he was just doing it to get her out of the way because he didn't want her to defeat the mythical creatures that they didn't even know existed, but also he didn't want to kill her. But then you see more, he just wanted to get her out of the way. He would never kill her because he still cares about her in some type of way. But he ends up betraying her way worse than Xaden did at the end of the book, after Violet finds out that Xaden has actually been working against the kingdom because he knows exactly what they are doing and keeping from all the dragon riders. So, and also I wanted to say that the book is kind of a combo of like the Hunger Games meets How to Train Your Dragon. That's how I feel like this book combines, but also it's such an intriguing story that you just want to see what happens. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye.